of started all the plants growing, and he started people. He can see us wherever we do. Whatever we do, he has such powerful eyes. Millions and thousands and billions. He could be sitting on the table right now, but you can't see him. He can't be everywhere at once doing everything for everybody. Well, his job is to make us good and make us happy and make us parents good.
I mean, there is no safe place in South Florida tonight. These winds exceed the building code.
This is literally a painful experience. This sand is hitting us so hard that it feels like BBs hitting your skin.
What we come out of our houses to tomorrow afternoon is going to be very frightening.
You just had no idea. I had no idea that this kind of power was possible. It's just, you hear about it, but once you experience it.
She said that there was going to be a hurricane, and I said, you got to be kidding. There's not going to be any hurricanes. How could a hurricane come out of nowhere so quickly?
A hurricane is a big strong wind. If somebody lives near the beach or near water, it's very bad because the water could flip over your house and it could get flooded and some people could get hurt.
I guess in some ways we just don't want to open our eyes. It's sort of like dying. Everyone knows we're going to die, but how many of us really believe it? After all, over 80% of Americans die without a will.
The door in the porch, it was slamming and shutting, so I couldn't sleep.
164 miles per hour is what the winds peaked out at the hurricane center. 164 miles per hour.
Hashem made the hurricane because some of the trees were very old and he wanted them to be knocked down.
There are cables lying all around the streets in South Florida, and you don't know if they're hot.
The hurricane was very strong. Before the hurricane, I dive into Hashem. A hurricane could blow your house away.
This place looks bad. It looks like Hiroshima.
Hurricane Andrew.
If it gets close enough to that, it's going to get swept up in that flow and go that way. But so far, it's looking like it's going to stay south, and this system is going to move away as well. So this bears very close watching, especially late in the week. Let's go ahead and locate it for you so you can plot it. 19.2 north, 59.5 west, 50-mile-an-hour winds, west-northwest at 21, and there you see the central pressure.
It's reported now that it may be forming an eye. We are expecting the storm to start turning on a more westward track similar to this.
If the storm continues on this path, and it is heading right down the pike of due west at this point, we expect that the storm is going to be in our neighborhood here by early in the day Monday.
A tornado is like, it's personal. It's like the finger of Hashem. It can come down a block and destroy one house and leave the next alone. But a hurricane, it's like the hand of Hashem. It'll come and destroy everyone the same.
I read somewhere that a professor had a theory that in Hurricane Andrew, there were 60 mini hurricanes, each having its own eye. Just shows the power of Hashem. He destroys what he wants, and he doesn't destroy anything he doesn't want to destroy.
Everything comes from Hashem, from a leaf falling off a tree to a boat being dropped into a swimming pool.
The first half of the hurricane, the winds came out mainly from the north, and my wife was in this side of the house here. Let me walk and show you down this hall. Incidentally, this house was, my wife's an architect. We built this house. We finished it in 1990, October of 1990, so we were in the house 18 months before the hurricane. And we were very concerned that these French doors would blow in.
Kendall got destroyed by the hurricane.
At certain points that this was the end. and I was actually thinking about writing some final notes to the family, but the wind was blowing in the house. I figured if I'm the writer, it's going to blow away anyway.
In Homestead, all the houses are broken down, and all the trees and all the buildings.
The second half of the storm turned out to be the most ferocious and dangerous part. But it began buckling and moving very violently, and we were concerned that it would blow in. At that moment, when we both said to each other, we'll never be able to hold this door, the door blew in, it crashed open, it knocked me down to here. I don't know what happened to my brother. I couldn't see where he was blown in the dark. And the wind blew me down this wet floor. The dog, my 3 large dogs, Great Danes, were blown right past me, and they blew right out the door. I figured I was going to be blown out the door with them.
We're very emotional. We were in open helicopter, so it was very clear to see. I did not see any home, not one home south of Kendall Drive that didn't have damage to it, extensive damage. There were numerous homes that were down to the ground. Most of the homes had roofs were gone. It's just almost unbelievable. I've never seen a nuclear attack before, but that's what I would envision happening.
During the hurricane, I wasn't worried because Hashem would help us.
No, it's more than a lifestyle. It's more than teaching blessings and prayers. Of course, we emphasize the educational skills and give the children a strong foundation in those academic skills. But most important, we are transmitting tools so that they will be able to handle all the challenges that life will throw at them.
We had a 12-year-old girl a few blocks from here in a house who was killed. And there were a couple dozen people killed in this area of Dade County during the hurricane.
I make a bracha, but thank Hashem.
At any moment, everything can be taken from you. We take for granted everything about ourselves. We drive a nice car and we go to our office and people treat us with respect, and we call someone on the phone and they say, yes, sir. That's all very temporary. And we take for granted everything we have and who we are, because it's all really a facade. And I remember standing in line, and I was dressed in dirty old clothes, and in front of me was a migrant worker, a Hispanic migrant worker, and back of me was a middle-class neighbor from this area. And I realized that we were all, we were no different from each other.
Everybody makes a bracha to thank Hashem for the food and try to give the people more money to buy their food.
Through the davening, the children are encouraged to thank Hashem for the many blessings that they have, for the food that they eat, the clothing that they wear, their mommies and daddies, for the homes that they live in, and for the beautiful world in which they live.
You would thank Hashem for making for the food. That's what you say in bracha, because some people don't even have food.
Another time we were in front of a shopping center, and there was a pile of clothes that had been sent down, and we were rummaging through the clothes, my wife and I found a pair of casual shoes, and they fit me perfectly. So I said, I need a pair of shoes, and I took them. I think what it's done is it's given us a greater appreciation of what we have as a sense of family.
I guess we just get wrapped up in things that aren't so important, and we forget what we're supposed to do.
The main thing is that anything that happens, good or bad, you have to take it and understand it and grow from it.
It's just one of those things. It wakes you up.
It opens your eyes. I think it gives you a new perspective on the gift that we have, which is life, because it's so temporary and it's so transient.
There is tremendous growth potential within all of us.
We certainly don't need a hurricane to let us know what we have in all of our children. Our aim here is to let every child know and feel the potential they have and what gifts lie within them to share.
We're always supposed to sensitize ourselves as much as possible to make ourselves and make our personalities and make our whole psyches and our emotions in tune with what the Torah wants from us. And I think Hurricane Andrew was a good way to do that, to appreciate other people's suffering.
At the end of the storm, I went outside and I quit davening to Hashem to say to Hashem, thank you for saving us from the hurricane. Even a hurricane is for the best because it's from Hashem. So we need to rebuild.
We have to rebuild. We have to rebuild our own commitment to Torah, our own commitment to mitzvos. We have to rebuild from the inside out. We want our children to have a deep commitment to Torah, a deep commitment to mitzvos. We can only expect this to happen if they see us growing, they see us moving in the direction of a greater enhancement of Torah life ourselves.
It touches you when you hear it on the news, but you forget about it. I guess when you really live in it, you really learn to appreciate what you have.
Anytime we have a real emotional experience, we have to keep going over it and over it and over again. And once we're on that high, we have to just take that opportunity to learn more. But that emotional high that we're gonna have is never gonna stay. It doesn't stay. How could it stay? We're human beings and we get used to everything. But we should take this opportunity when we have an emotional high to try to use that to jumpstart ourselves in all aspects of Avodas Hashem, to make ourselves better people. But the emotional high that we get from the hurricane is not going to stay, and it hasn't stayed.
It underlines the transient nature of our existence. And compels a consideration of something more.
In my mind, it was a miracle, not the obvious kind, but no less wonderful. There are those who deny it. They say it's a lie, with no help, no outside help from above. All of us have seen His hand at times. Our hearts read His name between the lines.